There's no script. Hello and welcome to episode 159. No. 3?
No. Oh my gosh, we don't even know. We're so ready.
Oh my god. They're so well
152 according to this.
According to this? What's this?
Your title.
The thing.
The thing?
Your title, that is definitely okay, 151 was posted as bigger and better. So this should be 152?
No,
yeah,
this is
what I said.
Yes. No. Yes, it is. This is episode 152 of the GameBrew Podcast. The mostly bi-weekly,
the one where we're super prepared.
The one where we're super prepared. The bi-weekly, mostly, sometimes kind of not really anymore. Video game podcast where we sip delicious bevs, talk about video games with our best buds, and are super prepared all the time for everything to happen.
Can I just say this already gives me anxiety? See, this is why I had to be the over-prepared one who kept everyone on time, because this gives me anxiety.
No, you can't. I'm your host, Dan Rotz, and I'm joined by...
Chris Wright.
And...
Allison Van Dievender.
And possibly some more friends later. We'll see.
We'll see.
And of course, all of you beautiful, beautiful people who are here with us in the Twitch stream version of this.
The Twitchyverse.
The Twitchverse.
Hey, did you know that on Twitch we got a warning suddenly?
From
That's
what?
Interesting. For the fact that we may be talking about things that aren't suitable for all audiences.
Oh, like alcohol?
Yeah, like alcohol, but
it's pretty great that someone at Twitch had to, or an AI, I guess, had to watch our streams.
No. Did we get a warning? Because there were no messages before I had to set the thing. There's you have to now on Twitch.
That's why. You have to actually set your stuff. That's why. Yeah, this was the first time I ever saw it. So I was just interested.
They just did it, and we haven't streamed since they started doing it.
Okay, yeah. I knew they made some changes.
To be fair,
really
we probably
terrible
needed
changes.
It. That's okay.
We probably. Oh yeah, that's true. This is a podcast about beer and video games. So we're gonna talk about the beer stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Beers. What are you beersoning?
I'm drinking Devil's Backbone Lemonade Smash.
Oh, that's right. You had gotten those smashes.
Look at Virginia absconding with Maryland's crabs like that. That's
how dare.
Right? Yeah. The whole special case of them had the little crab on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they I think they started with the Orange Crush, and that's also a Maryland thing.
Right.
Yeah, so the orange one was in here. I had that last night, actually.
Good, though.
Yeah, it was basically like orange juice.
Yeah.
So it was very good. This one is very lemony, so I like that.
In a good way?
Yeah, like a very tart lemonade, not like super sweet. Not like a Mike's Hard Lemonade, you know what I mean? Where it's like pounds and pounds of sugar.
The Crystal Light of alcoholic lemon drinks.
Yeah, this is good. This is like very bright, very very citrus summer. Definitely a wake me up kind of drink on a hot day. Yeah,
before I go.
Before a Pokemon Go.
I'm drinking a Kolsch style ale from the Von Trapp Brewing Company, and on the can it does say, "By the family that inspired the sound of music." So that's fun.
Is it really?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow. Okay, I believe it.
Be. I mean, we have no way of knowing. We have zero fact checking that we do on this podcast.
Yeah, and I tried to look up. It's got Vermont mountain spring water in it too. It's 5% alcohol. It's like kind of bitter. It's a very Czech tasting beer, which is what you would expect from a Kolsch.
Gotcha.
So it's very, very traditional Kolsch taste. Kind of like that bitterness up front, but kind of clean finish. Pretty chuggable. Pretty chuggable.
Pretty chuggable. Okay. I'll take chuggable. I'll take pretty chuggable.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I want to try a couple other things, but it seems very like traditional style stuff, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yes, that makes sense.
And what are you drinking, Dan?
I am drinking. So I've been because a new season of Always Sunny came out. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, the show about my.
I have heard
hometown.
Of that show. Yes.
And they were drinking Yingling on it, and I was like, boy, I haven't had Yingling in a while. So I got some Yingling, so I'm drinking it. Every time I get Yingling lagers, I always peel the labels off.
Lagers.
I don't know why. I just do, because then it's just a green bottle with nothing on it. But that's what I'm drinking. It's drinkable. Cool. It's a lager.
It's Yingling.
Pennsylvania.
Do you have any M&Ms to have with it?
He says, yes, Yingling is OP. Do I have any what?
Do you remember that? One of Will Shell's favorites was M&Ms and Yingling.
M&Ms.
Yeah, because it was peanut buttery or whatever.
It's not peanut buttery at all. It's like Will. We love Will so much, but that guy,
he just does some of the Willis stuff.
He just does whatever he wants, you know.
Whatever he wants. He's very strong-willed, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
I'm not going to continue.
We can stop.
I'm going to end them here.
You don't have the will to do it.
Yeah. Listen, I will end the podcast.
If there's a will, there's a way.
And that way is not Allison, clearly. She will stop them.
I will not. How dare you? But yeah, no, it's great. It's extremely chuggable.
It's Yingling.
Extremely. Yeah. The chuggability level is extremely.
Extreme chuggability.
But yeah. And then we also do video games on this podcast. I'm gonna talk about one first because I played it. So I saw a bunch of things from it on TikTok and I had to play it. So I played Bramble the Mountain King because it was on Game Pass. And it's really good. It's like a puzzle platformer horror / Nordic fairy tale game, where basically it's like you're this kid and your sister runs out of your room one night, and then you have to go chase her and try and bring her back, and then all of this like sort of really dark fairy tale stuff in it happens. So you kind of get introduced to all these really horrific sort of Nordic fairy tale creatures. Like there's trolls. Like the very first thing you do is like you see some gnomes and you're like, oh, gnomes, so cute. But then there's trolls, and trolls are
not cute. And they also try to murder you and cut you up and feed you to the Mountain King. There's also like a guy who plays the violin and tries to lure you into the water so he can kill you. And then there's like a lady who's like a witch and wants you to drown your newborn children. No.
I will say, but it is really gorgeous. Like to play it, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game, and it is very like it keeps you going. I was up to like 1:30 in the morning playing it because I was like I had to finish it because I just kept going. It's not super long, but it is long enough to be entertaining.
And you said this is on Game Pass?
It is on Game Pass. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you can.
It kind of looks like what was that game where you're like the little boy with it's like black and white with the spider and it's 2D?
Limbo.
Does it have that kind of vibe?
It has that same sort of horror vibe. It's a little bit more bloody and gory.
Okay.
But it is very good. Also, the music is great in it. It's both like creepy and cool. Like it's called Bramble the Mountain King, and there is one section where
do Hall of the Mountain King?
Yep, you're in the Hall of the Mountain King, and there's a dun 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 dun, and it's great. Highly recommend.
Man, it like when you first started describing it, it sounded like, and I feel so stupid. I've been sitting here trying to remember the name of the game that I was gifted to play and really love.
That you were playing the
yeah. And I can't for the life of me remember the title, but I really loved it. And I was like, oh, this sounds so similar to that. And then all of a sudden it took a left turn and I was like, no, it's not.
Oh no, it's very like, it's kind of disturbing and gross. There are a lot of things that like, there's like wiggly, like sloshy noises. And I didn't like that at all, but it was good. Very good. Very good stuff. Recommend if you're not squeamish.
How is it
I'm
compared
not
to like
squeamish,
Scorn?
so I might do it.
To what?
Scorn?
Oh, it's not Scorn's like body horror stuff. That's a different.
Yeah, I couldn't. I wasn't that into.
Yeah, Scorn
I
was hard to play because everything was. It was too much. It was too much to do that.
It does sound a little bit also like Hellblade.
It's not.
So, no, nothing. Okay.
It's because I guess kind of that it's like a story adventure game, but I don't think
with Nordic.
Yeah, but it's these are more like Swedish, not necessarily like Nordic, like the gods and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
More like Swedish folk tales.
Or Swedish fish.
I don't think there are fish. There's some hedgehogs that was really cute at one point. There's like parts where things happen that are super cute, and then there's parts where it's like super terrifying. So
super not cute.
Yeah. So go ahead and Allison's got some. It's like that.
She's making adjustments here.
Down.
I'm so sorry. Like my camera keeps falling slowly, and I'm trying to fix it, and it just keeps happening. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll just deal with it.
Hansard because we're falling slowly. Sorry, it's a music joke.
I don't get it.
That's fine.
Anyways,
next, who else? That's what I'm going to talk about today because we did some.
We've been playing some D4.
Yeah,
Diablo 4.
D4.
New season lasts till October, which is nice. It's a nice long season.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's a good
that.
Season.
Are you angry?
What? No.
Are we angry?
Oh, I thought everyone was angry
Allison,
at the new patch.
Here's the thing. I don't really get angry at video games.
I know, but like I, with zero context because I don't Diablo, right? Obviously, we've had that conversation.
I'm just here for a good time.
Yeah.
No, there was. I saw a bunch of like outrage from the general community at the last patch.
So
that was pretty universal.
The thing that everyone is mad at is that all of their little exploits that they do, because it's a Diablo game, people start doing like, they kind of sort of...
They break the game.
They break the game.
They find the combo that's best, and then they just do the shit out of that.
And spin and spin and spin and spin.
And so they nerfed a bunch of those, and everyone was like, "Oh, how dare you!" Blah blah blah. And it's
I thought it was a general nerf. It wasn't just on those things.
They kind of just like overall, I think, pushed damage output down across the board
a little bit, just to make it, because there were a lot of people who were just kind of like, it's just
steamrolling.
It got to the point where it was just like steamrolling, specifically with like.
But you get that with every game. You're gonna
exactly, yeah. But
so I didn't think that was I didn't think that was like a huge concern. But I thought it was strange that they decided to nerf everything across the board.
I think that people were just smashing through content a little too fast,
and so they wanted to pull it back a little bit.
Smashing content's cool, but also like I don't know. I get both sides.
So like as a general player, you don't feel like you're getting getting punished in your experience because of those other people. I mean, there's not a way to make it more fair. Like it's not bothering you. That's just kind of my curiosity.
Not at the moment. I think I'm level 35 now, so I'm still like getting to level cap. Or like even like end game stuff. Like I still have to you have to get to level 50 before you can really start end game stuff. So like I'm not really there yet. I'm still like kind of just grinding right now. So
especially because they reached this, it's season 1 now, and honestly, it's kind of interesting the way that they set up the first season here. So we're having fun with it. Chris and I are having fun.
Yeah, we're killing demons. And that's cool.
Good.
That's all.
Demons are bad.
Demons are bad.
Yeah. But like that being said, I do see some of the frustration that some people have with it. Yeah. But as you know, we're not really
Chris says staying comfortably in the center.
Comfortably just having a good time with it.
Yes.
As I do. And then also playing Satisfactory again recently, which has been great. So me and 2 other friends have been kind of rolling around with that, and it's always fun kind of like setting yourself some projects and completing those and seeing the fruits of your labor, and then having to find more stuff. And yeah, so it's, I don't know, it scratches a nice little efficiency itch for me. Which it's some ways it's very similar to what I do for my day job, in that like you have to find efficiencies and like kind of set things up in the best way possible so that you're don't have any waste and that sort of thing. So that's fun for me.
Very cool. Well, that's good. Is it satisfactory, would you say?
It is very satisfactory.
Nice.
Working on setting up my second coal-based power plant right now.
Ooh, coal-based power plants.
Yeah.
Do like that.
Good stuff.
Great. Allison, games?
I'm playing some Dinkum just to chill out.
Dinkum.
So that's
Ding,
been
dang,
thing.
some of that ding dang dinkum.
Yeah, it's Animal Crossing with some Minecrafty stuff. It's nothing magical. Nothing reinventing any wheels. It's just very nice.
Very.
That, and I learned how to make a tree yesterday in Blender.
Oh,
okay.
in Blender.
Okay. Does
that count?
I was like, make a tree. Yeah, you just
put it in the ground and then it grows.
And then tree.
No, I made a tree in Blender, so that was an accomplishment.
I want to see it.
Okay, I'll share a picture in our Discord. But it's it's nothing special. It was just a tree. I was trying to learn how to make trees for 3D printing for like D&D and stuff.
Got it.
And just working on some environment things to kind of play around and have fun with. And I realized like this tree that I've learned to make, it's like a fir, right? Kind of fir tree.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way that would ever print correctly because of the needles. So I need to completely change my thought process. But it looks like a realistic tree, and that felt very cool to me that I was able to make that. So I'm teaching myself Blender, and I'm very poor at it. So
knowing that people know things, and I am pretty stupid. What's Blender?
Blender is a 3D modeling program, like games use to make objects to import into games.
Okay.
But also you can use it to make 3D printing objects. It's one of the like many options out there, but I think it's also a very universally used one because it's a good program and it's also free.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Tight. Well, that explains it. That I understand now. Because before I was like, okay, I know before it was funny whenever she said she was making a tree, but now I don't know exactly how she's making a tree.
Now you're not following.
I was like, I'm gonna ask this.
Yeah, it's like sculpting, like actual clay sculpting, but you're doing it with a 3D form, which I've never been great at that aspect of art, like 3D sculpting kind of art. So I'm really learning from ground up in a lot of ways, but it's fun. Yeah. Difficult but fun.
Very cool, very nice, very tight.
If you could just never say tight again, the way you enunciated the T makes me very uncomfortable.
It's I believe a reference.
That's a Letterkenny reference.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable.
But it does. Would you say that it is high tier uncomfortable, Allison?
I would not, but for the sake of transition, it absolutely is.
Okay, great, cool. Because we're going to be, we decided to. Chris got it into his head that he wanted to start ranking things, and we figured what better way to do that than to just go into Tier Maker and just pick some ones and make sure that you all know what we believe are the best of things and the worst.
They're all going to be straight down the middle.
It's all going to be. Everything's going to be.
No, guys, I'm here.
Allison's here.
Everything is average, which is good.
So we're gonna warm up with my
stairs.
Number.
Stairs? Is that what we're actually doing?
Not stairs. Hold on. Here we go. Where is it?
Is it that one?
Oh, is it this one?
Yes.
Oh, so they pre-built the lists for you.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
yes. Well, this is a list. This has been created by Comic Connor, thank you, Comic Connor, for this.
We're gonna rank from from S tier to D tier. Sorry, F tier.
F tier.
The best numbers from 1 to 10.
Yeah. Let me see. Numbers. I gotta find the right one. Hold on.
Oh, that's a good one. They're all the same.
They're all the same. Okay, this was actually by @FS McGee. We're gonna do this one because it looks better. Okay, cool. So we're gonna We're gonna.
It's fine.
So we're gonna rank all of the numbers from S tier to D tier, and you're gonna have to sit through it. If you have input, you will be the unofficial 4th member of the podcast at that moment. So if you can eloquently,
but you have to tell us why. Like you can't.
Yeah, you have to tell us why. So we're gonna start with so from S to D, we're gonna start with. And for those of you who don't know, S is the best, A is second best, B is middle of the road, C is
S being like the best tier is like a Japanese thing, isn't it?
S rank, so like it's like a rank that's
like
often found in video games.
Like DDR, you can get S rank and like
right. It's like
what is that?
Superior.
What does that mean?
Superior.
Yeah.
S stands for superior. A stands for awesome. B stands for bleh. C stands for
B is for like it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. C stands for could be crap.
Could be better.
That's like the most average to me.
And then,
D is
but
bad.
on this list, it's not the most average.
Well, right, because there's no F, but normally there would be an F. So this.
Well, you know what? We can add a. Weird. Hold on, I think I can
D is that's bad.
I think I can add an F. Hold on. No, hold on. Add a row above.
It's okay.
There we go. No,
Dan, I need to get started right now.
F. Well, that's okay. So wait, is F below?
Below. F is the worst.
Okay, hold on.
It's a failure.
Gotta change.
That's why you skip E because it means nothing, but S means superior, so that's why they added it. There you go.
So C, I have to change the color for D because.
Yeah, that had to happen. Mm-hmm.
And then this, and then
this is brutal.
Done. Okay, there we go.
It's absolutely brutal.
So it's S for superior, A for
Do you
awesome.
see why I said we needed to plan ahead?
B for that's okay. C for could be crap. D for that's bad, and F for fuck you. It's terrible. All right, so we're gonna do the numbers. We're gonna go. I'm gonna, as the person in charge of all the things. We're gonna start with 5.
Why are you in charge?
I'm
gonna do the next one.
5. I want to say that 5 is at least A tier. And here's why. Yes, because lots of things are divisible by 5.
Okay.
Lots of things
your
aren't.
Your shirt kind of looks like 5 Guys. Which I like. Five Guys. It's Pizza Planet. I know, but it also reminds me of 5 Guys. 5 is just a really good, solid number. I think it's for me, it's an A tier. Brooks Robinson was number 5 on the Orioles.
Okay.
At best, I will give him a middle of the road because it is completely average. It can go in B tier, in my opinion.
It is because it is like in the middle. I agree with that.
5 and below is pretty great.
5 below.
You
have brought
me to the B tier. I am comfortable with
Fifth
B
Avenue.
tier. That means nothing to me. It is a place.
Saks Fifth Avenue means nothing to you?
Fifth
Avenue really doesn't.
Come on.
It doesn't.
5 Guys.
5 Guys.
Cinco de Mayo. Whose birthday is that?
Ben Folds 5.
Whose birthday's on Cinco de Mayo, Allison?
A tier. You've
on the 5th day of the 5th month.
Okay, you're right. It is A tier. In fact, it might be an S tier. I think it might be an S tier.
Okay, well, let's not get crazy. But I will say though,
Maroon 5. Yeah, Maroon 5. I
will say
the Jackson 5.
Now that Allison's changed her mind about 5 being $5
footlongs, Dan.
They don't. I don't know if they do those anymore.
They don't, but we used to sing that a lot.
We used to $5 footlong.
$5 biggie bag was in the chat.
And then Pip says 100. There's no 100. Pip, sorry. But
no, she's just cheering us.
Oh yeah, well, thank you, Pip. We love you, Pip.
I'm just saying, 5's a pretty good number.
So S tier
I think
S tier.
S tier.
I think it does because purely from a division standpoint, like
that's right.
5.
Purely because I was born on the 5/5
day of the
fifth month.
And each one of your hands has 5, and then your toes. Get ready.
5.
Nobody screen grab that. You're not allowed.
We'd be on
free.
What is it? Foot wiki feet. What?
Yeah, you guys just gave your toes for free. That is not what you do on the internet.
Also, Fee just said 5 also looks like
an
S.
It does. Yeah, we're good. I think we're good here.
Moving on.
That's wonderful.
All right, here we go. We're gonna pick 7. 7. I like 7 a lot. It's the funniest number.
Why is it the funniest number, Dan?
I'm gonna say A. It's not the best number. It is the funniest number, and it's also a prime number. So I don't know. 7's just the funniest number. I don't know why it's the funniest number. Anyone tell me?
No, it's like D.
D tier.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm gonna put it?
Don't do it, Chris.
It's fine. It's a B.
Oh God,
it's fine.
Okay. Well, we have to come to a consensus. We can't just
look. Here's the thing: 7 is like a lucky number in a lot of myth and folklore.
Lucky number 7,
with zero
explanation.
Dice.
The most common roll of if you roll 2 dice.
Lucky number 11. That's a great movie.
We love that movie. Love that movie here at the GameBrew.
Our boy Josh Hartnett is in that. So, what's up, Josh Hartnett?
No, nothing you've
said.
Nothing you've said has convinced me it's better than D tier.
What about
the Magnificent 7 and the
Seven Samurai, the classic movie about samurai defending a small town of villagers from a warlord?
7 is used often in movies. Movie titles, but that's because of the connotation of 7 being lucky, and I just have never found 7 to actually be a lucky number.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
But do you think it's fair for you to put it as D because it's never been lucky for you, but it has been lucky?
I think it's overrated, so I think it's a D.
Oh well, okay, but we have to come to a consensus here. I think it's an A because of all those aforementioned reasons. Also, Also, Fee says 7 with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? So
sorry. What are you? You are B. What is Chris?
I'm A. I'm an A.
You're A.
I don't think it's the best number, but I think it's really good.
I think it's B.
Chris says B. I'll settle for B.
I'll settle for B if that's where we need to go.
I'm going to reluctantly.
And we can always, as we go along, we can change things.
I mean, it might happen. It probably will.
As a very unlucky person, 7's overrated.
All right. Well, now we're gonna do 4. 4.
C.
That's what you yell when you're playing golf.
I have zero opinion on 4. It's a C.
I'm more inclined to go B myself because
what makes it a B for you?
Because music stuff like 4/4 is the most common time signature.
And it's pretty much, I mean, you got 4/4, and it's usually there.
Fee
like
says 4 is A tier.
3/4.
Me and Fee are on a similar.
You guys are putting all the numbers up high. I don't know which numbers.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna put some down low. I'm gonna put some down low.
Better not be 8.
It's always food related. It's always food related. It's always Wendy's 4 for 4.
I think it's A, but what do you guys think?
I have zero opinion. It's a C for me. I have no opinion on 4, good or bad.
So on the lower half of being meh, Chris.
It is literally average.
Are you upper meh or lower meh?
I'm upper meh.
You're upper meh?
Do we think 4 is better than 7?
4 is not better than 7. I don't think 4 is on the same level as 7. So I'm actually going to say C. Yeah, I'm going to say C for that. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Sure.
It has to be a unanimous consensus before we agree.
Seems pretty good to me.
Okay. Well, Chris, 8. I'm gonna say B because it kind of looks like an 8.
It does look like a B. However, I do think it's at least A tier. The number 8 has often been associated with some of the best athletes. Cal Ripken, Lamar Jackson. At least around here. What's his name on the Caps? Ovechkin.
Ovechkin. Okay.
Yeah. Always all these eights, the great eights, you know?
8 does rhyme with great.
Mm-hmm.
8 does rhyme with great.
And you can't say 8 without a.
So I think that 8 is at least twice as good as 4.
It is. That is mathematically correct.
But also, it looks like the infinity symbol, and it's always a number that's associated with like strength and power because of that. I have no sporting implementation to my theory, but it's at least a B to me.
B. I said B because it looks like a B, and that's as far as I'm going to get into it.
Mm-hmm. He says he rates us 8 out of 8.
You 8 out of 8. You're great. You are great. So I think it's at least an A, personally. And I think I've laid out a pretty convincing argument.
Very sports-related
argument. References meant nothing to me. It did not convince me, but
you care about me, and I care about
I do, so I am good with A. But what I'm saying is your reasoning means nothing to me. But I will go with A.
I'll let it be. I'll let it be A. We'll let it be A for you.
Okay.
Because
all right, we're almost halfway done here.
A. We're almost halfway done. We're gonna go with the number 1 though.
Number 1's S tier.
S tier.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too because
I think it's before 5.
It's number 1.
No, okay. S tier is superior. There is no level of like you can't.
No, you have to rate.
They're all together.
No, they're all together. It's all the same thing. It's not
it's
like
all the same. Yeah.
No, we got there's but like there's levels. Like 1 is definitely better than 5.
No, it doesn't get that complicated.
No, we don't get that.
We'd be here all day.
I'm going to be here all day.
Well, Chris, you can in your own mind, you can put it into those.
You can clarify afterwards in the Discord to everyone what you felt was right for each one, as far as the beginning to end. I'm sure you will. I have no doubt, and I love.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. 2. And I'm just gonna say this is a garbage number.
It's F.
Yeah, 2 is F tier.
But like, it takes 2 to tango, you know.
It does, but also
it takes 2. That's a good game. But
also,
a 2 for 1 deal is a really good deal.
Listen, it's so
it's overused.
It's overused. It's like the 2 is like the village bicycle. Everybody's had a ride, you know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow, there's no slut shaming here.
Well,
2 can be as slutty as it feels.
It can.
And that is fine.
Still F tier, in my opinion.
I'm a little more generous. I mean, I guess if you guys really feel
I'm going to D tier suddenly.
I was going D.
Why do you feel bad?
I was thinking D.
I feel like what Dan said is wrong. So now I'm going to D.
Let's do 2 D is 2. I mean, D, 2 is D.
All right, okay, I'll put it there. But it's like I just think that 2 is just overused. Like everyone uses 2.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
it is overused.
Yeah. All right. What else we got?
We're gonna do 6.
6 sucks. No one cares about 6.
It's so funny. Dan had me on his side until he opened his mouth. Can we put that on a T-shirt?
6 is D tier for me. I think. I don't give a shit about 6.
Yeah, I really.
It might be F.
Might be F. I don't give a shit about it.
Now I agree with you. Yeah, like 6 sucks.
Number, and if you do it twice, or 3 times, it's the number of the devil. Fuck that.
That's true. We don't like Lilith or the devil, so we'll do that. And then after that, we're gonna do 9. I'm just gonna put that right there so we can see.
9 is like the superior version of 6, right?
Like
it is 6.
But you need both. I do want to put them together because of that.
Nice.
And that shoots them all the way up. No.
So 6 together, 6 by itself, terrible. 9 by itself, terrible. Put them together, that's an S tier number.
S tier.
Right?
Nice.
F tier? Do we agree on this, or should?
No, I do think 9 is better than 6.
So D.
It's factually at least 50% better.
That's
yeah, I guess D tier.
Okay.
D tier.
Then we've got 0.
S tier.
S tier.
You can't divide by it. It's.
You can't divide by it. If you multiply anything by 0, it immediately
it's still 0.
becomes 0.
It's awesome.
0 is very powerful. It's like a sleeper power number.
Yeah.
I do think it is S tier.
Whether it's it doesn't matter if it's a positive or a negative number. You multiply it by 0, it's over.
Don't give a shit.
It's
also like essential in so many other numbers, right?
And
True.
yeah, because you want. I mean, the number that we've probably nope, never mind. Oh well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And I mean, it means nothing. How often is nothing something we need to quantify? And there it is.
I think even in chat, there's the number that is out there most is 0. Yeah.
What? What do you mean? What does that mean?
There's 6 zeros in the chat right now.
Well, Carrie did show love 100, 100.
And
then she
bits.
gave me 200 bits. She
Yeah.
said, so that is 6.
That's 6 of them.
That's 6 of them.
Just saying. It's S tier for me.
No, it isn't though, because Feast out there batting for all of these numbers, and he said them a lot of times. So 8 actually, I think is in the
there's only 5, 8.
And Fee says 0 from
Only
Mega
5
Man. 0 from Mega Man is pretty dope, and he's hella right. I love Mega Man 0.
Very nice. Okay, it's definitely
a sword, dude.
No contest S tier.
No, S tier.
There were so many.
I actually want to put 1 down to A tier at this point because 0 is better.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think 0. I think it's 0, 1, 5 in S tier.
I feel like,
for those keeping track at home with me.
But would you say that 1? But would you keep 1 at S tier, or would you say 1 is more of an A tier?
I think
number?
1 is an A tier number now that I consider this.
Why?
Because it's just not as good as 0. They shouldn't be on the same level.
So I would say that we need to put 5 down too, if you feel that way.
I do not. 5 is absolutely deserving in that position.
I
It
recall
is equal
at the beginning
to
of
0.
this when you
Yes, but you made such a very strong argument that I understand the power of 5 and why it is equal to 0. However, 1 deserves to be lower. That's my opinion.
I disagree.
I disagree with that too, Allison, because I still think
Okay,
1
fine,
is
we'll leave it.
one is number 1. Okay, and then we last number is 3.
3 is pretty good. 3 kicks the shit out of 2.
3's better than 2. I don't like 3 as much as I like 7. I want to put 3 at C.
I
with
think I
4.
prefer 3 to 7.
You prefer 3 to 7?
I think so. Like a trio, the 3 caballeros, the 3 musketeers,
Ooh, there are a lot of good 3s.
A lot of trios. 3 is good.
Beginning, middle, end. I don't know. Yeah, I think 3.
I think
3 is
pretty,
a good.
I think 3 is A tier.
It's like really ingrained in everything you do without thinking about it.
It does look like a butt, and I like that.
It looks like a butt.
It looks like a butt.
It would go nicely next to 8 because 8 also boobs and butt.
Yeah,
like,
boobs
right?
and butt. Yep, those are two things I
like
really
that,
like
that
a
for
lot.
us.
Yep.
Plus, if you put those on the same tier, it kind of looks like a face, like the eyes and the.
It looks like
a cat, like the little.
Or it looks like the face that what's that show with the little sailor kid that was on Cartoon Network? Cupcake.
Little
No.
sailor kid.
Was
Oh.
like Cupcake or something like that.
I don't.
Right.
I don't
Now
know,
that we've done our
thing.
warm up tier list.
So here's our tier list. For those of you at home, Flapjack. Thank you, Fee. Flapjack. I knew it was like a food of some kind. So S tier 510. A tier is 83. B is 7. C is 4. D is 2 and 9. And F, the straight up garbage number 6.
Fuck a 6.
6 sucks. Fuck you, 6. Screw you, 6. You get out of here.
All right.
You don't belong here.
That was a good warm up. Let's get into the real
That was a
meat.
good warm up. Okay. So Chris and I were looking at some earlier, and I think
there were some real good ones.
Yes. Did we want to do? Did we want to do like stairs, or did we want?
No, I don't want to do stairs.
No stairs. Okay.
No.
Here, I'm just gonna type in video games and let's see what
there's
comes
the
up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good ones for video games. There are a lot of them are big, so we might have to like come back to it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Stairs in video games.
There was something that I saw. Oh, hold on.
There's video game controllers that was pretty good.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that one was good. There's also video game franchises, greatest video games of all time. No, there's a bunch of good ones.
Well, we'll just pick one and start on it today, and we can always do another.
Here we go.
Okay. There's like
one
wow, I found said controllers tier list.
There's a what?
That one works.
Okay.
The one I had was called controllers tier list maker. It was pretty popular.
Let's see here. Controller tier list. Is it this one, Chris? Does it look familiar? Yeah, send it. You could just send it to me, and then I can do it. I could do it.
Yeah, it's weird because we're lagging behind you on the visual.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, so it's like I say it, and it's like, oh yeah, oh.
I message it to you.
Okay. Sorry, everybody.
Please hold while we get our shit together.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Controllers tier list. Presentation.
That's a good solid crew down there, I think.
That is.
We don't have an F though. We need
I can add an F. All right. Add row below. F.
Oh, I think it was better the other sizing though.
What other sizing? There
for a minute everything fit great, and then it went big.
Well, that's because you can't really see anything if I do, if I make it smaller. But there we go. That would be the standard size.
Okay.
Everybody's watching. So we're just gonna go from left to right as it is in here. We're gonna start.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the Switch controllers, the Joy-Cons.
I don't love the Joy-Cons. I would give them a C. They don't fit my hand well. They break very easily. They have a lot of drift. Don't like them. Not a big fan. Maybe C or D.
I would be more inclined to say D, just because I have big hands and it is so hard to use these.
I've got small hands and it sucks.
I have tiny hands and I like them. I also think they're very innovative. And I think that gives them more credit than we're talking about.
They are innovative.
They have a lot of unique uses, and they can snap into different controller formats. So you actually can snap them into a bigger, wider kind of setting. I know it's not perfect still, but I think they're B or C. B is honestly where I was going to put them, but I can see where you guys may have a different experience for C.
I'm good for C.
I'm good for C too, just because the only thing, they are still pretty flimsy because I don't know.
Yeah, I've had to repair one and also send one in for repair. So
plus the way they're used,
right?
Definitely can lead to them breaking more. So I guess I give them more leeway on that. But I can't take any of the other controllers, put one on my thigh and one in a circle and do exercises with them.
I've never tried.
They're very innovative and they're used in very unique ways that I think give them a lot more credit to me than other controllers.
I don't know. I might be being convinced, Chris.
I'm getting a little convinced, and Fee also mentioned that they are very versatile. They can do a lot of things. They have the motion capture.
Motion capture.
Balls
all over.
You know what I mean.
Right. You didn't need to.
It
was like when every other console maker was making a camera to do that, they decided to let the controller do that. So I think that, as far as controllers go, makes it B tier for me.
I've been convinced. I'm solidly B.
B, but no higher.
Thank you, Your Honor. That was my closing argument.
Gavel, gavel, gavel.
The next one's S tier, so we don't have to really go through that.
The Xbox. This is the
Xbox.
Actually,
I do.
It's the 360 controller.
360 controller.
A legend, an absolute fucking.
I agree.
I think so too.
That controller has defined what all controllers are now.
I think it's like because it is like it had the two joysticks were in the perfect place.
Mm-hmm.
It was small enough that you could hold it in, like that controller compared to like an Xbox One or an Xbox Series X controller is still smaller. And
it is.
Yeah, they should have never changed.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love these.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have this without that.
That's true. It's kind of like and I do like it looks kind of sleek because it has like it's skinny in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me, but the D-pad is awful, is what Fee says. The D-pad? What's wrong with the D-pad? I think it's fine. I never had issues with that D-pad.
I don't think I've ever had issues with the D-pad either. What specifically was the issue?
It's almost as if Fee's sitting right next to her and he could just say things out loud, but instead he's typing it into the chat. Which is also good. It just make it so I have to read it as soon as he puts it in. While he does that, we're gonna bring this chonky boy up here, the OG Xbox controller.
That guy was a heckin' chonker.
That thing was huge. There's no separation.
And if I recall correctly, there was that original Xbox controller that came out, and then they came out with a different one that was kind of the standard that was more similar to what the Xbox 360 controller became, if I remember correctly. Because that chonky boy was a little too chonky.
This chonky boy is extremely chonky. Also, it had 2 extra buttons on it.
No, the regular one had that too.
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about. The
black
Xbox,
and the white,
yeah, the black and white buttons, which was like
I remember the white being the flashlight for Halo,
which that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Now, but as a controller, how was it, Chris?
I hated it.
It was pretty terrible.
I hated it.
I'm glad they made a revision of it.
I don't know. Would you put this as like one of the worst ones, or like just real bad?
It's down there. It's
for somebody with like tiny hands too. Like it was the
great.
Worst.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is probably an F. It was nearly unusable.
I can see that. Yeah, it does have kind of a nostalgic factor, and it's like it was their first controller,
right? Yeah,
I literally fumbled through games trying to use this. It was really awkward for me. Like I had to like reach up and over. I don't know. It was odd.
I do like that thing was huge. Like I don't even think I'm trying to like remember it like in my hands.
I have one, not here though, so that I could grab, but I'll bring it one time just so we can kind of look at it compared to
compared to Allison hands, just to see.
To me, to see how cumbersome it really was. But also, I assume that everything you said there was kind of what you told all the girls. So we'll just take that and clip it and talk about it later.
I'm getting married now, so it don't matter none.
And I do want to point out that there were 2 different ones. I'm sending a thing in the group chat. Give me 1 second. There it is. So on not that unless you share this with everyone, Dan. So on the left is
Mm-hmm.
the original one, and then they revised it to the one on the right.
To the one on the right.
Yeah.
And the one on the right is much better.
Yeah, I definitely had the original.
Mine came with the one on the right.
Which, you know what? Guess what? It's on the list. It's right here. It's this one.
On the far right. Yeah.
So
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that one's more like
so much better.
That one's better. It's more like D.
I think I would say it's C tier because it's
it's C tier. Yeah, it's still pretty chonky, but like it definitely is getting it was the step where they needed to go to get to the Xbox 360.
Right.
controller.
It still has extra buttons on it. It still has that like center thing that isn't a button but is there.
The window to the Xbox soul.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's that. But we're gonna C. Solid C. I think that's good. I think we're agreed with that. Yep. Let's go to the Super Nintendo controller.
Can we actually do the first Nintendo controller first?
Well, technically we did the Joy-Cons from Nintendo first.
Well, I mean, I know, but like since I put the Super Nintendo controller and the regular Nintendo controller in my head next to each other.
Okay, gotcha.
From an organizational sense.
So the Nintendo controller,
for the time, was probably revolutionary, but from my perspective now, it is garbage.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I think I disagree with that.
It's literally just a piece of plastic with buttons on it. No ergonomic shape whatsoever.
But remember all of the games that you could play with just those two buttons, you know?
Yeah, I played them on Game Boy.
It was revolutionary and interesting. But
for the time,
to the point of compared to all of these other controllers, there was no design.
Yeah, it was just
literally
a rectangle with buttons on it.
It was a brick to get the job done.
It did. It did its job.
All they did was go, okay, the parts inside are square, so let's put plastic around it. That's literally what they did. They didn't think about it at all. So in comparison to all of these other ones, I do think it is like a D.
For me, it's a D.
I think it.
No,
I personally definitely think it gets credit. It's not an F because it was amazing for its time. But yeah, it's
right.
Like if the Nintendo gun was on here,
gun? Yeah,
the light gun, that would be a completely different story, and they were out at the same time,
right?
Ish.
Now,
right?
these are, but that's a specialized controller. So these are all like the standards. Like these are all the standard the core controllers.
But for core controllers, it was pretty awful. It wasn't as bad as the Xbox one we just discussed, but D for me.
Right. Okay. All right. That's a D for us. Fee says it gave us the famous up, down, left, right, B, A, and start.
And yes, code, and that is why code. It is not a D. It was.
Or not. It's
very dear in my heart, but shitty in design.
Right. In comparison to all these other controllers so far that we have, I'd say it's a D, right?
Yes.
That's what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we will go to the Super Nintendo controller. Improvement?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It,
there you go. You got
it added the shoulders. It added 2 more buttons.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that one's
B or C territory.
For me, it's B or A, so I think we land on B.
I think.
What do you think, Dan?
B is fair because I do think it was it had the X and Y buttons that they added on to there because they were like, oh, we do need more buttons
and the shoulders.
Like this was so simple. But it was like so good. Like it felt good in your hand. The plastic it was made out of was that like slightly textured. Mm-hmm. It was a nice feel. Like this was like when controller started getting good. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's a place where like we got good with controllers and then we started over designing them. And this was like,
ooh, next generation is right there. Yeah.
Right. So, this is where things started to get like really good in my opinion. So that's definitely at least a B for me.
Yeah. And I mean, that is the first iteration of shoulder buttons on a controller. And then
that I can recall.
Yeah, and then from then on, it's just on everything. So, speaking of shoulder buttons,
I think that was the first one. Because before that, I mean, what else was there? Like the NES controller, the Famicom, That one didn't have it. The Ataris didn't have it.
You know what? Let's keep going through Nintendo. Let's just keep on Nintendoing. Nintendo 64 controller.
That's pretty solid in D territory. That maybe F. That controller sucks.
It's a weird decision, I think.
I don't know what they're like. I wonder what their thought process was when they were like, "This is the design that we want." Like, I assume they thought that they were going to allow developers to have it so they could put different, like you could use different holding formats to do different games. Maybe,
or I think it was.
No one did that.
I think it was. Go ahead, Allison. You look like you have a.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say about this controller, and I'm going to try to be concise because I have a lot of opinions. This one also sucked for the same reasons. As far as a small hand person, I could not reach half the things I needed to reach. I needed to move around a lot, but also I do think it was very innovative and interesting because of the rumble pack feature and like these.
But that wasn't on board.
Yeah,
it did have the expansion pack.
That's an extra thing that you could put
but
on.
It had a port for it. It had a spot for it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was designed that way to have that port, which is interesting too.
That was an interesting thing. And I'm wondering like if because they had to do that, they were trying to figure out how to make it work with the technology they had at the time and knowing how large that slot needed to be, maybe.
That's what you said.
So I do think like there's a lot of innovation here and interest. I think it was poorly executed, and I think the design of this controller just in general was really bad. So I'm struggling with where it needs to be. And I loved the color choices. This was like
the colors, the see-through purple.
Yeah, like this was the
awesome.
First time that started happening to my knowledge is like you got color choices. So that was really cool too. So I don't want to give it F. I don't think it's F for those reasons. I'm struggling with C or D.
I'm kind of in D just because it's such a bad design.
I'm trying to think.
And like playing those games now that require that controller, like Perfect Dark sucks, man. Like
we played that so much, dude.
We did.
We played that game so much.
And like playing like that and like GoldenEye, like they just suck to play because you don't have two joysticks.
It's and that's where I'm kind of struggling, right? Because like those games, they were so beloved, and we're looking at this from a now perspective. Yeah. But at the time, like we were happy with it. Yeah. We were happy with it. So it's a question of like, was it bad for the time, or was it really good for the time and bad for now?
I'm coming at it more for like leaning towards like, is this a controller that I would be happy about using right now?
Right, and that's kind of, I guess, where I'm struggling with the decision. D in that case for me.
Yeah.
D, okay. I don't. Yeah. That thing's weird. It's so hard to hold those. Like I do have a bunch of them. I have an N64. I never take it out because those controllers are so hard to use. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. So okay,
it is interesting to think about when you mentioned the expansion slots on those.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where you put your memory cards, and there's only a handful of controllers that did that. There was that one. There was the original Xbox, both of those,
mm-hmm.
and there was the Dreamcast.
And that's the one that we're going to do next. Dreamcast controller. The Sega Dreamcast.
I'm putting that down in D territory for the
it also sucks. They're very similar.
But it was cool. It had that. So this, I think, actually did come with it. Those little things like that, like the little like pixel, like if you were playing Sonic, you could like play a little, like take the thing with you and play a game with it. And then you'd put that back in.
Oh yeah, it was like a memory card / view screen.
That shit was awesome.
Kind of.
That was really cool. Like I said, I think they're very similar because like that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I remember my gold controller for my N64. That one came with Majora's Mask, right?
Mask. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I remember those things. Like how cool was that? And the Rumble Pack, like those things were all cool, but the controllers themselves sucked.
Yeah.
For like the same reason. So I think those are completely the same level.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And R.I.P. Sega.
R.I.P. Sega.
Mm-hmm.
But we are Sega. But we're gonna go to different S words. Sony, the Sony PlayStation controller, PSX.
PSX.
So that's the original PlayStation controller.
Yes.
And then the other gray one with the joysticks in it is the second one from.
That's the
PS2.
That's the PS.
Well, isn't the black one that is between?
Oh yeah, there's three here.
There's
the
one next to the GameCube controller on the left.
So there's the there's the PlayStation, and then there's the PS1, and then there's the PS2.
Well, isn't the PlayStation the PS1?
No.
So there was the original PlayStation, then DualShock, then DualShock 2 that came out with the PS2, correct?
Yes.
DualShock came out with the PS1.
Came out with the PS1.
And I think that's the problem. So
I think
the DualShock is the PS1, so that is also PS1.
So this is technically like for the PSX, which I think is like that was like the very first iteration of the PlayStation that didn't have the DualShock controllers, right?
No, I think they're all PlayStation 1, I thought.
Okay.
No, DualShock 2 is not, but DualShock 1 I believe is.
Okay.
Anyways, this first controller is I'm happy with it being C. It's basically just Sony's version of the Super Nintendo controller. But with 2 added buttons.
I would agree with that. And then we had the DualShock controller,
which is
S tier, in my opinion.
I would say the DualShock 2 is S tier.
So like A tier?
DualShock 2 is the black one.
DualShock 2 is the black one, yes.
Yes, it's the black one, which came out for PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Yeah, the DualShock came out for PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1.
Was one of the first controllers to have 2
double joysticks.
Big
game change. I would say that's A tier.
Yeah.
And then
the
DualShock 2. For you, what's the difference in the two?
Didn't DualShock 2 have rumble versus the first one not having rumble?
I think that is the only difference. I just wanted to make sure that is the reason
that's the biggest difference, was that they added the rumble feature.
Onboard rumble.
Right.
I think the original Xbox might have had that too.
No, it did not.
I mean, the N64 had that with a pack that went into it.
But I'm saying like on board. Yeah.
I don't think the Xbox did. I can't look it up because it would go to a different
screen.
I think the GameCube did.
The GameCube did.
I'm pretty sure I remember. I think I have a slightly see-through original Xbox controller, and you can see like the little things that spin, if I recall correctly.
I don't think it did.
I was going to say, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember there being a rumble feature on the original Xbox controller. But in this silence.
Dual vibration motors. Okay, it did. It did.
Okay.
It did. Okay. Wow, I didn't remember that at all.
Huh. Interesting. But
it was weak and felt very like a less than a phone vibration is what everyone says, which is maybe why I don't remember it, but it existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna go to the Sega Genesis controller. Sega Genesis. Anybody?
So I liked this one. It didn't have the. It's chonky, but the closeness of the buttons was okay for me, even though it was chonky. It didn't.
There were 3
make
buttons.
It weird.
The 3 buttons was weird to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did. It had
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's got 3 buttons
instead of 2.
Yeah, this one was less than though to the other Sega ones. So I'm going to say this is maybe D.
A D tier? I would agree with that, because I would agree with D because 3 buttons is dumb. Like, whoever thought you get 3 options for this, one's a middle button, one's a right button, one's a left button, whoever decided that, bad decision.
Yeah, it definitely was a weird choice. I know they were probably just trying to be different from Nintendo.
Yeah, they were just but this one was like literally. I'm sure that's how that went.
It's like, but you get an extra button.
It's true, but then
more things you can do.
But then we had the Sega Saturn, which then that had 6 buttons on.
It's too many.
Look, I
my thumb
fucking
can't
love
do that.
this. I fucking love
can't
this.
do all that.
You love the 6 buttons?
I loved this controller just because I love this system. So I'm very biased. So I don't think I can give a good opinion. I think this is like a C for me. I don't think it sucked. I really liked this.
I do want to point out that we said that 6 is the worst number.
It is, but
it is.
I'm content with putting it at C because the Sega Saturn had a lot of fighting games and stuff like that too.
Right, and it felt very arcade to me. It was like a take-home arcade controller.
And I think that's where it shines a little bit more, which is good. So I'm content with C. Chris?
Okay, I can live with that.
Okay, you concur? Do you concur?
Yes, I concur.
What about you? Do you concur?
Why didn't I concur?
I should have concurred. Let's go to another interesting one. The Wii U. The Wii U controller.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna put that as an F.
It's an F.
No, why is it okay? Hold on. Why is it an F?
Because it was bad innovation.
It was so chonky.
It was very chonky. We would not have the Switch without it.
We wouldn't have the Switch without it.
It's actually more comfortable than the Switch controller for me.
I can understand that, but also the fact that
you could go and take it to the bathroom with you.
Okay. I don't want to do that though.
I guess that's a point. That is a point.
That's a plus, but I mean, like, it's just so.
But to what end?
It's a square. Like, it's a square. You know?
That's not great. But it's also. I mean, they had that big old screen in it, which was kind of cool. It was in the same way. I think that in the same argument that we had for the Switch controllers are very similar arguments to why this is innovative and interesting. And although it's not the most comfortable, it did some cool things.
But also the Switch controllers were comfortable for some of us. This was comfortable for none of us. So I think
me.
Okay.
This was more comfortable for me. Like I said, more comfortable than the Switch controllers.
But
being able to do,
or it was more comfortable.
It was fine. It didn't bother me to play games on that.
Okay.
And also being able to do inventory management on that screen was great.
For like games that had inventory management.
Yeah, like playing like Zelda.
What about other games? Did the screen get used in every game that came out?
Not all the time. Sometimes it was just like there would be a mini map on it, or like things like that. So like I thought that it like when it was utilized correctly and well, it was cool.
So I thought it was very cool. I thought it was very innovative. But I will say I did not buy. This is one of the few consoles I never bought and never owned because I could not use the controller.
Same. Like the controller literally stopped me from getting it.
Right. Yeah. So for me, this is an F tier controller.
Okay.
So the best I can move it to is a D if you really liked it.
I'd consent with D.
I don't think it's not the worst controller here.
And I would almost disagree. So we can go D, I think.
Yeah.
And be okay. Because this is probably the worst controller for me. Actually.
Okay. All right. But I'll I don't know. I really don't like it, Chris. I know your argument. Your argument is kind of seems like it's coming down to I have one and it's fine.
I hear him about the innovation.
I think it's a really cool shit.
This walked so the Switch could run. I hear that. And that is related to the controller. And they realized it's stupid to put this in the controller. Let's make it separate.
Make it the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but they literally realized that their innovation was flawed. So that's why I still want to put it in F. Yeah. But because of what you're saying about the fact that there was innovation there, and that's interesting, I would be okay putting it in D.
I just think in relation to all the other controllers that we are looking at, I don't think it's good.
Okay. Okay. If you guys feel that strong, you guys feel strongly. Throw it in the F tier. All
right. I'm so sorry to do this, but yes, I do feel
a piece of paper, and he's just like,
me and my Wii U controller are going to be in the F tier, I guess, where the trash belongs. No, I honestly like the Wii U controller, and you're about to pick the Wii. I fucking hate the Wii controller. I like the Wii U controller better than the Wii controller.
See, now that he says that,
the Wii controller.
Now
okay, so you said you didn't pick up the Wii U because of the controller. Yeah. I didn't pick up Zelda Skyward Sword because of the Wii controller.
Because of the Wii controller.
I think it's probably also an F, if I'm being honest. I also agree this is an F.
But
again, it walked so the Switch cons can run now, right? The Joy-Cons. And I think these two things were put together to make something really cool.
I am also going to play devil's advocate with myself. So the one advantage of the Wii controller was that anyone could use it, which was cool. Like Wii bowling was awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it was. It was very accessible.
Playing any actual video game with that thing sucked.
Correct. You didn't. You only played it, like, at least for me, I only played the mobile uses of the controller. Like it wasn't an actual controller that could be used, but it was an interesting take, and
it was very gimmicky.
It was very gimmicky.
Here's an interesting question. Would you put that below the Wii U, or would you put it above the Wii U?
I would put it above the Wii U.
For me, I put it below.
I think it was gimmicky, but it was usable for those things.
Well, then we're just going to keep it right where...
Yeah, we'll just keep it there because we're not going to agree. I told you this was what was going to happen.
Oh, poor Nintendo! All these controllers.
Let's finish out some more of these.
Let's do. Let's go to.
I feel like the next PlayStation ones they're pretty simple, right?
Yeah, because they've got this is the PlayStation 3 controller.
Yeah.
Wireless DualShock controller, basically.
It's the same as the DualShock 2.
It's the same,
except it had that Axis thing.
Yeah.
It's a good controller.
It's a good controller. I think
I'd put it in A.
I'd put it in A tier because they haven't changed anything. Now, I will say the PlayStation 3 controller, or the PlayStation 4 controller, excuse me.
I hated the PlayStation 4 controller.
I didn't like that as much because of that.
It had bad battery life.
Yeah.
It was small. The PlayStation 5 controller is great, though. I like
the PlayStation 5 controller is great. It's not on here. Sorry, this must have come up before the PlayStation 5 came in.
But yeah, no, I did not like the PS4 controller. That can go in C territory.
I think C.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because that battery life sucked, dude. Like every time I'd play it, it was just like.
I did like the little trackpad thing. I thought that was kind of neat, but
that was neat, but not it wasn't useful during playing. You know, it was only useful.
Just a button to click for map.
Yeah, it was just a middle button.
It was a map button. It was like a start button, but it was really neat in other uses, but it didn't impact the gameplay at all, really. You know.
Okay. Yeah. So Xbox One, the Xbox One controller.
That can go straight up to S tier too, because it's awesome.
I honestly disagree slightly. I think it's not as good as the Xbox.
I agree, it's not as good.
Oh, I
think it's an A.
I love it so much.
The 360 deserves better.
I do think the 360 is better. I think the problem with this controller is I think that the sides went out too far. And
it's really awkward again for me to hold.
I think that I would argue that it is so iconic and prevalent that everyone is making the same controller now. Like there is a Nintendo version that is exactly the same as this. Like but
you could argue
the Switch Pro controller is this. But
you could argue that's the 360 that it was really based off of.
Yeah, I mean they're all based off the 360, but like
right, because that was the S tier. That's my opinion.
Right. I mean, I think this only like for me this improved from it.
Allison,
and I think that's why we'll never agree, and that's the issue. Is it's so personal, and that's why doing this as a group is difficult. Because for me, the way that they shifted things, because I have one in front of me, and the way that they shifted the controller to be, hold on, the way they shifted the controller to have these buttons farther apart, and how wide this is. Well, this is a day one. This is actually a day one.
Yeah, that's the day one.
This is the first one that came out. Yeah. So, the day one edition, for instance, that one, like the way that they built this, like my hand being here, I can barely get to this. Oh, sorry, I'm not even showing it. I can barely touch this.
Yeah.
Unless I shift my whole hand around on it, and then I can use the D-pad. And that's because of how wide this section is. And how long it is, and how they've shifted those buttons away from each other. And that is why the 360 controller is better to me. It's just more accessible.
Yeah, those little butt boobs on the bottom, like the things that stick out on the sides.
These?
Yeah, they're very long, and
they are. But like for me, like it's for my hand, it's perfect.
And exactly. So we have such different hands.
Well, and the thing is, though, we don't. We've done this, and like your hand is not much smaller than mine.
Well, it must be though. However, it's like fingy length, man.
However, I will say this is about the OG Xbox One controller. Is that what you have, Chris? Is that an OG, or is that
the new one? But it's almost exactly the same. Let me see if
it isn't exactly the same. Because you could tell, because the OG one has that indentation in the top where the Xbox button is.
Yeah, both of mine are the OG ones. I literally bought an extra controller on day one, and I've never had to replace it. So I only have two, and they were from the OG. Yeah, and they both have that indent.
That OG one, that Xbox button was very far away from your fingers. And also,
I could never touch it.
The two little the options button and the start button in the middle were like far away. So that's kind of like you had.
Yeah, they didn't exist. They didn't exist to me. Yeah. When I had to hit them, I literally had to.
This Razer one that I bought.
I literally had to like shift my hands completely over. It was very awkward. I think at best it's A tier.
I would agree with A tier. I just don't think that the original Xbox One controller, Chris, the original one.
I think that for me personally, it really did it for me. But like. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, let's go to something that we might agree on. The GameCube controller.
It's definitely the best Nintendo controller out there. The Nintendo has designed itself. The Switch Pro controller is an Xbox controller.
Yeah. But what I will say, though, is that as far as Nintendo controllers and consoles, number one, the GameCube was like one of the best consoles.
It was super underrated.
I loved it.
And I think the different size buttons, like the different shape buttons, was
kind of interesting.
An interesting choice, but like it made it like for other, like even if you were a first time player, you know, A is the big one, B is the small one, Y is the top weird shaped one, X is the
other kidney,
the other kidney one.
And then it had the two shoulders and then the Z.
Yeah.
Instead of having the trigger from the N64 in the back.
N64 one.
It had it on the top.
I would put this as an A tier controller. It's not perfect.
I think it's A tier. It's not perfect, but it's A tier.
But it's like it's close.
I feel like this is an S tier, so I'm okay with A tier. For me, it's an S tier. It's the best Nintendo controller that exists to me, and I still use it on a Switch. That's how much I love it.
It's the only way to play Smash.
Yeah, Smash Brothers.
Right. So for me, and that's the thing. Like, it stood the test of time in such a way that people still use it when they're playing competitively with Nintendo. So for me, it's an S tier.
Okay.
But I'm satisfied with A if that's where you guys feel it should be.
She says S tier for sure. I don't know. Now I'm thinking that people still use that controller.
It's not better than the Xbox One controller.
Okay.
It just straight up is not.
You're right.
I mean, I guess so. But for me, it's like we have the S tier of each console up there.
Well, but
each company, I guess.
But that being said, I don't think that there needs to be an S tier from each company because I don't think Nintendo's made a perfect controller. I don't think so because they keep trying to be innovative, and because they keep trying to be innovative,
fair.
They keep having like weird controllers.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay. So I think it is the S tier of Nintendo, but maybe it's not an S tier controller because Nintendo just keeps doing weird shit and they can't take the good things and just make something good out of it and then keep that good thing.
They can't just be like, well, this is what the industry standard is. So, well, actually, no, they did. That's the Switch.
That's the Switch Pro controller. Yeah.
Which there's a reason why
they were like, fine, fuck you. Here it is.
Which, hey, by the way, the last one is the Switch Pro controller.
Yeah. What do we do with it?
I mean,
it's like a shittier Xbox controller.
Like, honestly, it's kind of like it is kind of like
it's actually B tier, I think.
It's not A tier.
You know why? Because
GameCube controller is better in my opinion.
Names are in the wrong place.
yeah, that's true. That's
which for Nintendo, it's the same place as they've always been. But for me, I'm like, why can't we just put A on the bottom, like everybody else does?
Yeah.
Make accept be the bottom one instead. Accept is the right one.
Yeah, it's like it's fine, but it needs to be far away from the other Xbox controllers because it's just a knockoff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
there you go.
All right, so that's it. That's our tier list of everything up to the current gen of controllers.
And as we all expected, the Xbox 360 and the
PlayStation
PS3
2
controller. PlayStation 2, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
You know, it's not everything. I expected some random ones from like other companies, but we didn't get any of those. No, like some Atari and
Nah. We're only going with the ones that we remember from our childhood.
Well, I remember from my childhood. I played them all. Okay, fine.
I mean, me too, but like not in a way where it's like I never had an Atari at home as a kid.
See, that was my first console. Was an Atari.
But was it a console you got, or was it something that you had because your parents had it?
It was my first console. I got it at a yard sale.
Okay.
And it was my first taste of video gaming.
Got it.
That's cool.
That's pretty.
We should we could do consoles. That'd be fun.
We could do that. I would say let's
not tonight. Obviously,
let's not do it tonight. But this will be another
we've gone
thing.
long.
Yeah, this will be a thing that we do every so often.
I think it's fun.
It's fun to do this every once in a while. We'll try and do some stupider ones too. I really do want to do the best stairs in video, like the best.
Yeah, we definitely will do some stupid ones.
Oh, yeah, I think we should do like a stupid and a good one.
And a good
one. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. If you like this and you want more, let us know.
Or
otherwise, we're just going to do it off stream for ourselves.
Yeah, if you think it sucks, let us know also, and we can.
Also, this is by @Zachary01405507 on Twitter, or whatever the hell Twitter's going to be soon. X, or whatever the hell. Because Elon Musk is a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said with disdain. But just to reiterate, here's our final tier list. Unless anybody sees anything that they think is like looking at all the other controllers in that tier,
egregious,
that like seems wild.
Nope, it looks good. Take a screenshot of it, post it in our Discord so people can give us their opinions on it.
Download the image. I'm gonna save it in my downloads.
Cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
The controller tier list.
Do we want to say goodnight to everybody?
Hold on. We have to say the thing. So if you're listening to this podcast, the S tier, let's go from the bottom. So the shittiest controllers are the Xbox controller, the original one, the Wii U controller.
The Duke, I think is what it's called.
The what?
The fat Xbox controller was called the Duke.
The Duke.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think so. And then the Wii U controller and the Wii controller. D tier is Nintendo.
The original Nintendo.
Yep. N64, the Dreamcast, and the Sega Genesis controller. C tier is the Xbox Series 2 controller, the PSX controller, the Sega Saturn controller, and the PS3 controller. PS4 controller. Thank you. Yes. B tier is the Joy-Cons, the Super Nintendo. Oh wow, and the Nintendo Pro Controller. That's all Nintendo controllers in B tier.
Huh.
Interesting. A tier is the DualShock controller for PlayStation
original
1. The PlayStation 3 DualShock controller, the Xbox One controller, and the GameCube controller. And S tier is the Xbox 360 controller and the PlayStation 2, the DualShock 2, aptly named. So we'll post that in the Discord. And we're going to end.
Can I just say, it's so funny that that Nintendo, we put so many in B, because it's like they're always innovating and they're always like interesting, but they're never good.
That's not
like good enough.
Until they kind of like toe the party line with controllers.
Yeah, it's going to be very.
It's never going to be perfect.
Also, I'm upset there was no Wu-Tang controller on here, so whatever.
Ooh, the W, yeah.
Oh, the W is good. That's a good one. But thanks for tuning in. If you have a tier list that you want us to do, either that you've seen or you want to make, if you make a tier list and you want us to do it just to tear it apart, we'll do that. Just send it to us in our Discord at bit.ly/discobrew. And tune in on Sundays. Over the summer, we have been a little bit lax. It's been a little crazy with
it's been very busy with
life happenings. Fun, like, hey, level up. I'm engaged now.
Hey,
yay! Congratulations, officially, publicly.
Thank you very much. And we kind of decided on a venue, and then we just have to do the wedding stuff, and then.
Oh.
Not invite any of you guys.
Wow.
Just kidding.
So
I'm so mean. But we're going to end the podcast portion of tonight's proceedings. Unless anybody has any plugs. Allison, you have anything you want to plug?
No, I mean, I stream, but not right now. I think I'm going to start up in October. I think I've decided to make that my date. So I have time, but actually have an official date. So nice. Yeah, I'll be back in October to streaming on it. And that's Vanalia.
Yes, mark that in your calendars. Chris, anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm good.
Spay and neuter your dogs. Your pets. I'm going to plug the GameBrew stuff. Listen to the podcast. Tell your friends to listen to the podcast. Remember to tune into the stream whenever it comes up. Follow us, and then you'll get a notification anytime that you see that we start streaming. You can subscribe if you want. That's also fine. You can. If you do it, cool. We'll just get more notifications. You can post cool things in the chat. And yeah, join the Discord, just bit.ly/discobrew, for fun happenstance things, pictures.
This tier list.
This tier list that you can save. But yeah. So with that being said, we're going to end the podcast portion with the way we end every podcast portion, which is by saying good night,
everybody.